Deep dives and blue skies. Welcome back to Talking Blue with Nick, the best Dodgers analytical podcast that you can find. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Talking Blue, the best Dodgers analytical podcast that you can find. I'll be your host, Nick, and today you're listening to episode 20 of Talking Blue, 20 episodes. Today we're going to do another preview series. Obviously, we skipped the last series of the Dodgers and the Marlins. So we're going to do the Dodgers and Diamondbacks, which will take place on Thursday, May 8th in Arizona. We're going to preview that series. Going to be a very quick podcast, as you can see once you clicked on the video. Because of the time of the recording, I've had a lot going on. I was at a couple of the Dodgers-Marlins games. I had to preview this series a little early, and because of that, none of the probable pitchers are out. So I have to do a little bit of guessing on who I think is going to pitch on what days. I have a pretty good idea of who's going to pitch for the Dodgers. It's a little bit harder for the Diamondbacks. They're currently playing the Mets. A little bit hard to figure out who's going to pitch, but we'll get into that. This podcast is always on Spotify, on Apple Podcast. Watch on YouTube. Follow us on all social media at Talking Blue Pod. You can follow myself at Talking Blue Nick on X. Follow us on Reddit at competitive-week8715. Let's get right into the Diamondbacks. So, Diamondbacks are a really good team. It seems they are similar to the team they were last year, one of the better offenses in baseball, kind of average pitching. So, offensively, the Diamondbacks are one of the better teams in baseball. They are a team that walks a lot, and they have a lot of power. They are second in baseball in walk percentage, and they have the seventh lowest K percentage. So they have a lot of power, and they don't strike out too much. They are eighth in home runs, and they're first in doubles. They are ninth in on-base percentage, fourth in slugging percentage. They have the fourth lowest whiff percentage, and they have the lowest zone swing percentage and the fifth lowest swing percentage. So what that means is, obviously, whiff percentage, they have the fourth lowest swing and miss percentage. So they don't swing and miss at pitches too much. The lowest zone swing percentage means they're the most patient team when it comes to pitches in the strike zone, which is very similar to the Dodgers. So they are not a team that swings at the first pitch that often. And overall, they take a lot of pitches, which of course leads to them walking a lot, kind of like what we saw with the Pirates a few weeks ago. And the fifth lowest swing percentage, obviously that just means they swing the bat fifth least. So they don't swing the bat too often. They're very patient. They slug a little bit. Like I said, they have the most doubles and they're eighth in home runs. And they're a team that, what makes them pretty good is that they have guys that walk a lot, but they also don't swing and they also don't swing and miss too much. So a lot of times when you see power teams that hit home runs, they do tend to swing and miss. Not the case with the Diamondbacks. They don't swing and miss too much, and they have some decent power numbers, so a very good offense. Now, their pitching is not as good. They're a pretty average team when it comes to the pitching. They have the seventh highest ERA in all of baseball. Their batting average against is .239, which is 15th, so they're dead even among all 30 teams. And then they have the third most doubles allowed and the sixth most home runs allowed. So they do allow some extra base hits, but at the end of the day, not a bad pitching staff. They're basically average, middle of the pack, kind of like the Braves we saw a couple series ago. So very good offense, not as good with the pitching. They've had some injuries with their pitching staff. So, like I said, when it comes to the individual games, it's going to be hard to predict. I'm going to give some home run predictions against some pitchers. Again, I don't know exactly which day it'll be. From what I've mustered up, I think it's going to be game one on Thursday will be Yoshinobu Yamamoto versus Brandon Pfaadt. Some of you might remember him in 2023. He pitched well against the Dodgers in the playoffs. Pretty solid young pitcher. Friday will be Roki Sasaki against Eduardo Rodriguez, I believe. Again, I don't know for sure. Then Saturday, Dustin May, I think, will be against Corbin Burns because from some of the info I saw on X, he's going to come off the IL and pitch against the Dodgers. And then Sunday, this will be the hardest one to predict, but it'll probably be some kind of bullpen game for the Dodgers, and then it'll either be Ryan Nelson for the Diamondbacks or maybe Zach Gallen pitches, maybe Tony Gonsolin pitches for the Dodgers. Again, what's going to make it hard is that both of these teams haven't had many days off in the last couple days, and this is a 4-game series, the first 4-game series of the year for the Dodgers. So, either team could mix in a bullpen game. I think the Dodgers, those first 3 guys are going to be pretty accurate, Yamamoto, Sasaki, and then May. But then with the Diamondbacks, they could throw Fott Thursday, but then go with a bullpen game Friday, then Rodriguez Saturday, or something like that. So that's why I'm not going to dig too much into the exact game predictions and exact matchups. So I'll just give some information on the Diamondbacks lineup. Like I said, pretty good offensive team, but they're a little bit all over the place with the pitches that they hit. So they're a very good 4-seam fastball hitting team. Corbin Carroll, Pavin Smith is a good hitter for them. Ketel Marte is one of their best hitters. He just came off the IL, and Randall Grichuk is a platoon hitter who hits well against lefties. So the Diamondbacks have a pretty good lineup. Like I said, it's very deep. Obviously, Corbin Carroll and Ketel Marte are the 2 best hitters at the top. Pavin Smith, like I said, who's kind of been a career utility outfielder, first base DH, has had offensive numbers in the past, and he's finally put it together this year. They traded for Josh Naylor, good first baseman from the Guardians. Everyone knows Eugenio Suarez had the 4-home run game earlier in the year. Kind of is a player all over the place. He has 10 home runs, but his OPS is in the mid-700s. So he's very streaky. And when I was looking at his individual pitches that he does well against, he doesn't really do well against many pitches, so it's kind of weird. Gabby Moreno, he, of course, went off against the Dodgers in the 2023 playoffs. Very streaky hitter. So they're kind of a streaky lineup where the first 4 hitters in the lineup are very good, and then the next 5 are very streaky. Like I said, Suarez is a good hitter, but he's been a little bit above league average. But then Gabby Moreno, Lourdes Gurriel Jr., Alek Thomas are below league average hitters. And then Geraldo Perdomo, their shortstop, who's always been either a below league average hitter or just right at league average, has been very good this year. So kind of a lineup that is interesting, very good at the top, falls off towards the back half, and then Geraldo Perdomo is a really good hitter in the 9 spot. Eugenio Suarez is just above league average. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. is below league average. Grichuk is below league average. Gabby Moreno. So kind of a 2 tails of their lineup, but do not match up well against Yamamoto and Sasaki because they do not hit splitters at all. They haven't seen many splitters, but nobody hits even close to 280, 290 or anything like that against splitters. It's all in the low 200s, low 100. None of the Diamondbacks hit splitters well. Should fare well, Yamamoto, that is, and Sasaki against the Diamondbacks. Now, like I said, pretty good 4-seam fastball hitting team. Corbin Carroll, Pavin Smith, Ketel Marte, Randall Grichuk all hit fastballs well. Gabby Moreno, Lourdes Gurriel, and Eugenio Suarez do not. When it comes to sinkers, and Dustin May, of course, who's a sinker baller, Randall Grichuk hits sinkers well, but he does not face righties that often, so he probably won't be in there against Dustin May. And then Gabby Moreno and Corbin Carroll are also good sinker hitters, but Perdomo, Alek Thomas, Pavin Smith, Josh Naylor are not very good. When it comes to sliders and sweepers, of course, that's another key pitch for Dustin May. Gabby Moreno is a good hitter against those pitches, and Josh Naylor and Gurriel. Those are good off-speed hitters and breaking ball hitters. But then Suarez, Grichuk, Corbin Carroll, Pavin Smith are not so good. So a lot of the hitters in the Diamondbacks lineup actually don't match up very well against some of the Dodgers pitchers because they're not a great team when it comes to splitters and sliders. One of the matchups that does scare me a little bit is Sasaki because they're a good 4-seam fastball hitting team. His fastball gets hit around a little bit, and they're very patient. So We're going to need Sasaki to be kind of locked in with his command like he was against the Texas Rangers, where he was in the zone and kind of forced teams to become aggressive. So we're going to need Sasaki to do that. So comes to the Dodgers pitching, they do match up well against the Diamondbacks offense, but like I said, they do have a good offense. This probably will be a series with some home runs. Like I said, the Diamondbacks do give up some home runs. Then we'll kind of just close it out with how do the Dodgers line up against some of their pitchers. Again, I'm not sure yet in which games it'll be, but Brandon Pfaadt, he's got an ERA of 3.79, pretty solid pitcher. He throws a lot of pitches. His best pitch is a sweeper. That's pretty good. So against Brandon Pfaadt, whenever the Dodgers face him, I think it'll be Thursday. I'll pick Will Smith and Max Muncy to go deep against him. An expected batting average of 291 on his four-seamer. And on his curveball, he's got a 364 batting average against. His sinker has an expected 358. His changeup has an expected 332. So I think he's a matchup. I think he's a good matchup for Will Smith and Max Muncy. Both of those guys have always been pretty good fastball hitters. Will Smith is a good curveball hitter, as well as sinkers, and then Max Muncy also hits well against sinkers. So that'll be my home run picks against Brandon Pfaadt. Dodgers can definitely hit him. It all depends on how his slider looks and how they do against his sweeper slider pitch. Like I said, Sasaki, he's got to be in the zone for this game. Eduardo Rodriguez, I think, is who will go in Game 2, left-hander. He actually has been striking out batters a little bit more this year, which he's kind of never been. He has an ERA just under 6 at 5.92, so he's been hit hard. But he does have good strikeout numbers, so he's been a weird pitcher early on this year. His changeup gets absolutely hammered, and his fastball's not great. But all the other pitches are pretty good. He's got a good sinker, a good slider, and a good cutter. So in this game, I'm actually going to pick my first left-on-left matchup. Freddie Freeman and Andy Pages. Lefties hit over 300 against Rodriguez. We saw Freddie Freeman take a lefty deep the other day. He hits well against lefties. He's a good fastball hitter. And Rodriguez doesn't really have any pitches that Freddie Freeman struggles against, so I think he takes him deep. And then Pages has just been hot lately, and a lot of a lot of his pitchers like sliders, cutters, Pages hits well against, and he's just been hot. He's always was a better hitter against lefties. He's become more neutral, so I'll pick Andy Pages because he's been hot. Then, like I said, Dustin May should match up pretty well against the Diamondbacks, but he has struggled, so we'll see what he looks like. Corbin Burnes, who's coming off the IL, what I found on X is that he is slated to come off the IL on Saturday against the Dodgers. Dodgers have hit him very well throughout his career. They have hammered him at times. He has not been off to a good start in his Diamondbacks career. Now, he's only thrown 32 innings, but he's got an ERA of 3.58, so not horrible, but a lot of his numbers, he's walked a decent amount of batters, doesn't have a lot of swing and miss, so a lot of his expected numbers are not very good. His cutter's has an expected batting average of 301. That's normally his best pitch. Now, his curveball's been very dominant. Slider's been okay. The sinker's been getting hammered at 370 expected batting average, so he's kind of been a little bit all over the place. He was one of my favorite pitchers to watch when he was in Milwaukee. So I'll pick Ohtani and Mookie against him. I like Mookie because he's a good fastball hitter, and Corbin Burnes, his slider numbers aren't as great this year, which is a pitch that Mookie struggles against, so that will help him. Kind of like when he took Grant Holmes deep, that was my thinking there. And his sinker's not good. That's a pitch that Mookie can hit because he hits pitches well on the inner part of the plate. And then Ohtani's just been raking. I don't think Corbin Burnes has many pitches that Ohtani will struggle against. Maybe he'll mix in some changeups. So against Corbin Burnes, I'll go with Ohtani and Mookie. Then we'll go to Game 4 again. If it's Ryan Nelson, we'll see. It could be a bullpen game. But against Ryan Nelson, if you don't know much about him, he's been mostly a starter in his career. He's come out of the bullpen a little bit for the Diamondbacks this year. He's thrown 21 innings. Not a huge swing and miss guy, but he has really good extension, has really good fastball, and doesn't get hit hard very often. But he does have an ERA of 5.48. So again, a lot of the Diamondbacks pitchers are a little bit all over the place. With Ryan Nelson, I'll pick Pages and Tommy Edman. So I got Pages going deep in multiple games this series. Tommy Edman, I think, is going to come off the IL on Friday. That's when he's eligible, and they did make it sound like in Miami that his ankle was a lot better. So he looks like he'll come off the IL on Friday, and then I have him going deep Sunday against Nelson. Again, a lot of the pitches that he throws matches up well with Tommy Edman. So that's pretty much going to wrap it up. Very short pod. I apologize for it being kind of all over the place in terms of the predictions and all the players. Next week, when the Dodgers play the Athletics in LA, that will be a little bit of a better preview series. Right now, with me going to some of the Marlins-Dodgers games, with some other stuff with this 4-game series, it kind of didn't shake out well for me to time everything up. So that's why this one's a little all over the place. Like, the Dodgers will play the Athletics Tuesday, so they'll have the day off Monday, so that will give me a little bit of time to have a better prepared video after the Dodgers-Diamondbacks series. So final thoughts, I already said this, but Diamondbacks, good offense. They slug. They're very patient. Don't swing and miss too much, although they don't have necessarily a super high batting average, but they don't swing and miss too much. But their pitching staff is not as great. They allow some home runs and some doubles. So this series might end up being an offensive series with a lot of home runs. I think Yamamoto will pitch good against the Diamondbacks. It's nice that he'll go in game 1. But we'll see what Sasaki and May look like. Of course, the key with Sasaki is throwing strikes. It'd be nice to see him get some swing and miss, but the Diamondbacks don't swing and miss too much. And then Dustin May, looking for him to bounce back. So Diamondbacks are a good team, looking for the Dodgers to make a statement. All the teams in the NL West, minus the Rockies, have been very good, and the Dodgers haven't faced any of them yet. So this will be their first chance to go up against the 3 other good teams in the NL West. 4-game series. Would like to see them make a statement and win the series. So thank you guys for listening. Like I said, you can get this podcast on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, watch on YouTube. We're going to have a bunch of shorts continuing to come out, videos on Reddit, videos on TikTok. All these videos are going to be shortened for people who like that stuff. So thank you guys for listening.